If you're like a lot of people, you're pretty concerned about the direction of the market right now, where inflation's at, war in Russia and Ukraine, and you're looking for answers. You're not quite sure where the market's going to go from here. My name is Jim Martin. I'm the president and founder of Martin Wealth Solutions, and thanks for watching our video. I wanted to give a quick update on where the market's at, where we think it might go in the future, some trigger points that will either cause it to move up or down, and then the 5 things you can do right now to make sure you're on track for when the market does move in a positive direction. So let's just get right in. Look, August or July, we had a nice recovery in the market. We were all feeling optimistic, and then the market began to pull back. In August, it was down a bit, and then in September, it's continued that trend. And I know that's disconcerting if you're an investor, because what's happened is we've been on this kind of roller coaster that's up and down through this year. And we're used to seeing over the last 10 years kind of a linear market where market goes up and maybe it comes down, but it comes down just really quickly and then pops right back up. Remember, back in 2020, market was down 30+%, but it only stayed there for a couple of weeks. So we really didn't even feel it and experience the turmoil of those market conditions. So, it's tough this year because while we have not hit that low that we did back in 2020, we've just seen the market move sideways without a lot of positive momentum. And really that's predicated on a couple things. Obviously, the war in Russia and Ukraine that's happening. We thought that would be over quicker than it was, and it's still going on, and it doesn't look like there's an end in sight there. And then in addition to that, inflation, which look, if you've been to the pump lately, if you've been to the grocery store or anywhere else, you feel it and know it exists. And the Federal Reserve is attempting to fight inflation by raising rates. And the concern is that as those rates get higher, does that push the U.S. economy into a recession? So the market's unsure what's going to happen because inflation has not come down as quickly as most of us would have liked, at least from a CPI perspective. Now, there's some good news out there. We've started to see some commodity prices fall, and commodities aren't goods. They're the raw materials, but eventually they show up in the goods. And we began to see like oil and gas. If you go to the pump today, it's not, it's $3.50 a gallon or whatever it is, which is significantly cheaper than it was, a few months ago. So there are some positive things out there that will hopefully lead to a lower inflation number. So there are a couple things you can do, though, to prepare and to be ready. Number one, understand that market conditions are normal. We go through these things. So you put things into context here. You've been through bad markets before. Chances are we're going to have bad markets again. Markets don't work in a linear fashion. Unfortunately, they don't go straight up. We have ups and downs and, all of those things. Remember, the stock market is essentially the world's largest flea market where there's bargaining on both sides. And sometimes there's more buyers than sellers, and sometimes there's more sellers than buyers, which is where we're at right now. So that's the first thing I want you to do is put things into context. Markets have always recovered. There's no reason to think that it won't recover this time. Unemployment is really low. Go to a restaurant on a Friday night and tell me if people are worried about rising costs. Go to Walmart or TJ Maxx or Target, and the parking lots are full. So we're not seeing the traditional telltale signs of a recession or an economic slowdown, although I'm sure we're not growing at the same rate. The same thing is true of housing. Housing has cooled, but remember, housing was so red hot that people in Southwest Virginia were putting bids on houses like it was California for a while. So cooling of the housing market's probably not a bad thing. It's probably a good thing. It's healthy to have a little bit of a slowdown in housing. So, first-time home buyers can purchase things. So put things into context. We expected a little bit of slowdown. We're still seeing really low unemployment, still strong economic measures, but inflation's high, and the Federal Reserve is doing what they're going to do, what the blueprint is through the 80s to fight inflation. The other thing I would think, number 2 on that list is, this could be a hard one, turn the news off. Remember, it doesn't matter if you listen to MSNBC or Fox or CNN, they are paid to get you to listen. So depending upon what their political agenda is, the one side is going to paint that it's perfect, and the other side is going to paint doom and gloom and the world is going to end. All of that is giving red meat to their base to keep you watching. None of that is constructive. Although you might like some of those personalities, I would not trust them with my finances. They are not licensed financial advisors, and their economic predictions are sometimes based in the political realm, not the realm of reality. So as much as you can, understand where you get your financial news from is different than where you get your political commentary from. The next thing I think you can do, so number 3 on the list, and maybe this should have been number 1. At our firm, we have hired some world-class financial planners. And if you're a client of ours, I want to invite you to reach out to us at no cost. This is part of the deal when you work with us, and take advantage of our complimentary financial plan. It will help you understand where you're at right now and what that means to you 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now to make sure you're still on track to hit your goals. So I'm going to put a link in the show notes here in the email that you received. I would really highly encourage you, if you've not taken advantage of our financial planning process, sit down with our team, take advantage of that, make sure you're still on track to hit all of the goals you have. And I think that'll give you some peace of mind. It'll ensure that you're on track to hit your goals, and it'll put kind of things in context around where the market is. Remember, we don't like negative markets, but we do plan for them. We plan for markets to go down. We don't know why they're going to, but we certainly plan for them to go down. Guess what we also plan for them? For them to go back up, which is the important part. All right, number 4 on the thing. Look, if you've got cash, put that cash to work, guys. Do not let money sit in the banks. And I know you're super excited about 2% at Ally and some other things, but look, we're seeing treasury rates at 3-4%. We're seeing fixed annuity rates at 3-4-5% even. So there are some really good opportunities to put some cash to work. Remember, the market's lower today than it was in January. So if you're asking, hey, is it the right time to buy? I don't know where the market's going to go. I have no idea. But I do know that it's lower today than it was in January. So it could present some really good opportunities for future growth. And then last but not least, be patient. I know this is hard. I get it completely. I mean, I'm frustrated by the market too. I would like it to either go down as far as it's going to go down so we can get this done with and then begin to track up, or start to go up. I don't like this sideways thing where we hit a low in June, and then we just did it a couple of days ago again, and now we're moving back up. It doesn't make me have a lot of confidence to know that it is. The market's going to move sideways until inflation's under control, is my opinion. I don't know what it's going to do. I know it's going to be a bumpy road. I'm not saying this is going to be an easy road without some logs to move out of the way and some potholes along it. But I do think long term, we're going to be in fine footing. Short term, it could be really bumpy. But let's be honest. When inflation gets under control, when we get reports that inflation's coming down, what do you think that'll do to the market? You have to ask yourself that. Is that going to be a positive thing for the market or a negative thing? I think it tends to be positive, and I think we're closer to that today than we were a few months ago. So be patient, because there could be some decent news on the horizon. I'm not sure if that's 3 months from now or 6 months from now, but just be patient around that, because when that happens, I feel like we might have a bit of a market recovery as people begin to see some light at the end of the inflation tunnel. There's no guarantee of that. I have no idea. As you know, I don't make market commitments or guesses, but I feel like when inflation begins to come down, that's going to be really positive news for the economy, because it'll tell us the Federal Reserve, what they're doing is working, and maybe they don't need to be as aggressive. Maybe they can slow down on rate increases a little bit to see what that means. And maybe companies begin to have some clarity and consumers begin to have some clarity over where they're at. As always, if you want to talk, have a conversation, reach out to us, just call, send us an email, connect with us, but take advantage of the complimentary planning. I really think if you've not taken advantage of our financial planning that we have for all of our clients, let's figure out exactly where you're at. More than anything, thanks for listening. I hope you have a great week, and we'll talk soon. Take care.